A brand new 1-hour-old Nanos poll came out showing Canadian comfort with a Stephen Harper majority. Here's the breakdown. Basically, it's, let's say, 42, 43 to 45, 50-50. That's interesting. All right, I think that's probably higher than it was before, but I'll get to that in a second. Joining me to discuss this and other issues of the day is Amanda Alvaro, a Liberal strategist with Narrative Advocacy Media from Toronto, and here in the studio, good old Walter Robinson, former Conservative candidate and principal with Tactics Government Relations. All right, I want to go to you first, Amanda, on that Nanos poll. I don't know if you saw it or not. 50-50 say, Harper can have his majority. I feel comfortable with that, or somewhat comfortable. Is that a surprise to you?
Well, you know, I think that the polls have remained relatively stable, but the question has been, you know, the Harper Conservatives have had a really hard time jumping over that 40% threshold. The question posed to Canadians, is there really a hard ceiling for the Conservative Party in Canada? Still means that the majority of people are not accepting of a Harper majority government.
Oh, there you go, Walter.
Well, I'll agree with Amanda that I don't think the polls have really changed much. It's being called a stalemate here in this campaign. But tit for tat, Mr. Ignatieff hasn't been able to bust through 30% either here in this entire campaign, and the Conservatives maintain an 8 to 10-point lead. May 2nd will tell us whether the Canadian people are comfortable with a Harper majority or not, and we'll await that verdict.
I was struck today when the reporters were asking Stephen Harper questions. Maybe I'll go to you, Amanda, on this. They were asking him, first and foremost, if you don't get the majority, are you sticking around as leader? Do you think he's done if he doesn't get the majority?
I mean, I think that Harper has made the ballot question a referendum on his leadership. He has said majority or bust over and over and over again. So yes, I think his political future hangs in the balance of this election and whether or not he gets that majority. And if the polls are any indication, he's not going to get what he wants. And we'll be having to ask the question, will Harper be around over the next few years?
Ooh, Walter.
Well, I think, and I'll give credit to the Liberals. They're as united as any dysfunctional political family can be behind Michael Ignatieff in this campaign, even though they've trotted out past leaders who've had more success. Mr. Harper has a solid grip and solid support within the party, and he'll make decisions on his leadership when he thinks he needs to make those decisions. We're fighting an election, and again, the ballot is on May the 2nd. That's the most important question with respect to test his leadership. And the coalition, the question again, stable Conservative majority or a coalition of these other guys.
Okay, I want to take you all back to 2004 and see if anything in this next clip sounds familiar besides the voice of CTV's Roger Smith. Have a listen.
In fact, this new manual for Liberal candidates offers old quotes as ammunition, like this one. What we clearly need is experimentation, Harper said 3 years ago, with market reforms and private delivery options within the public system.
Well, that sounds mighty familiar to attack ads that are currently rolling around. Amanda, don't you think it's time the Liberals invented a new boogeyman to throw at the Conservatives? That seems so 7-8 years ago.
That sounds like a question from the Conservative playbook. I think you're spending too much time with our friend Walter, Don. Listen, if I was the Conservative Party, I'd want to be staying away from this issue too. But the fact of the matter is healthcare remains, has been, always will be the #1 issue concerning Canadians. It was the #1 issue in 2004, and it certainly is the #1 issue. It is so 2011. It is so not 7 or 8 years ago. So I think that what the Liberal ads are trying to convey is something really critical, really important. The Harper government had 5 years to make some foundational, sustainable change to universal access. They failed to do that. They've spent the election campaign talking about issues like prisons and fighter jets, and all we're saying is that there is too much at stake, the risks are too high, and healthcare is the first and most important issue facing families today.
All right, well,
Don,
we haven't hung out together very much at all, though.
I think I'm back in election 38, knocking on doors in Orleans, and the Liberal attack ads are back.
You ran then.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
And let's clearly remember that as the Prime Minister has very said in the Conservative messages, you need to have a strong economy, build the foundations to fund our social programs and our cherished universal health care system. And this week, the Liberals trot out Paul Martin, the guy who in 1995 cut $25 billion from health care transfers. And you don't have to take Stephen Harper's word for it, any Conservative candidate. It was Bob Rae who said as Premier of Ontario at the time, the end of Canada as we know it, in response to Paul Martin's March 1995 budget. Those are the facts. They speak for themselves, and ignoring them won't make them disappear as much as the Liberals try and deflect the message.
Now, Amanda, one of my favorite movies is Monty Python's Search for the Quest for the Holy Grail, right? And there's a scene in there where the guys goes down this decrepit old village going, "Bring out your dead, bring out your dead." And I noticed with some humor that right now Michael Ignatieff's hauling Jean Chrétien and Paul Martin out and putting them on the campaign trail. What is that all about? I thought Paul Martin lost the 2006 campaign for them.
Listen, parties are made up of leaders, past leaders, members, and people who share a common vision for the country. In our case, a progressive vision for the country. Having our past leaders come out to campaign with the current leader is a tactic that's been adopted by all parties for as long as anyone can remember. We see Ed Broadbent on the trail with Jack Layton. We see Martin and Chrétien on the trail with Ignatieff. The question is, where are the past leaders from the Conservative Party? Where's Mulroney? Where's Clark? You might be wanting to ask if they've defected with the rest of the country, wondering, wait a second, is this the kind of guys, this the kind of party that we want to run a Conservative majority government?
Actually, that's not a bad observation.
It's an excellent question. Stephen Harper is the Prime Minister. He's campaigning for his job. He doesn't need references from other people out there saying, oh, he's a good guy, give him another try. He's campaigning for his job on his own strength, his own merits, the Conservative platform, and the Conservative team. When you bring out these past leaders of glory days gone by, Mr. Chrétien served our country well. Paul Martin served our country. I have great respect for the offices that they held. But when we look at their policies on health care and savaging the public service in 1995, and also in the 2005 budget where Paul Martin cut 12,000 jobs in this city alone, you have to ask yourself, what is the wisdom of trotting out these past leaders? They're not on the ballot. Let's vote for the people who are.
Okay, Amanda, I want to go to you on the final point. I'm just wondering if Jack Layton has the Liberals scared at all. He seems to be creeping up in the polls.
You know, I think Jack Layton had a good showing at the debate, saw some bump in his numbers, but any reliable seat projection shows that they are nowhere near to official opposition status. I think it does indicate, though, that there is a progressive shift in the country. People are talking about the values that are very reminiscent of our progressive parties and the issues that they're bringing to the table. So we're very happy that Mr. Layton is bringing the same issues that we're bringing, whether it's health care or education. Those are the topics that we're going to be hearing around the Easter dining room tables this weekend, and certainly it's going to be our opportunity for families to engage and cement their views on what really matters and where they should vote on May 2nd.
Walter.
I won't give. I'm going to give Amanda an A for a name and an A for spin. That's outstanding in terms of the.
She is good at it, though.
The Liberals are now fighting a two-front war, trying to take on the Conservatives in many ridings, but also bleeding to the left in some of their metropolitan seats when I think the GTA and other places where Jack Layton, and he's doing well in Quebec. I agree. They've run a good campaign. He's got a bump out of the debates, and he's showing regional strength. We always see this, and I'll let, if people want to vote for NDP or Liberal, they have many choices out there on the left to center part of the spectrum. But if they want a stable national government, they have one choice, and that's the Conservative Party.
Okay, Walter Robinson here. Amanda, come to Ottawa. We'll hang out. I'll get Liberals by osmosis here.
I'll hang out with Amanda.
Okay.
It's all good.